Mm-hmm.
We are live. Hello, everyone. I am here with Danielle LaPorte. I would introduce her, but I think she should introduce herself for those who don't already know who she is. Danielle, can you tell everybody where you're calling in from and just a little bit about who you are?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now I'm sitting in my office in Vancouver. I am most interested in like devoted living, higher love. I write about consciousness. I'm most well known for a book called The Desire Map, which is really more about a heart-centered approach to envisioning your life. And yeah, I'm here for love. Yeah.
I know everything you do is inspired by love, which is why I gravitate towards you, and so do so many other people. I always ask all of my guests, particularly because we are, still in the pandemic. How has the pandemic changed your world? Just give me a listening for the business side of things and then personally.
Mm-hmm. Well, I went really deep, really fast with it. So I was just like, what do I need to shed? What do I need to let go of? I think this is a passage for humanity. I think that the divine has said, slow down. So I really slowed down in radical ways, like slowed down in ways that, for someone who, I identify as in the past being a workaholic, is like uncomfortable slowing down. But like that stillness, that quiet is where the life is, where I can think clearly, where I'm in touch with my heart, where I'm making decisions that are like about wellness and wholeness. So, the 3 months for me in like a really focused shelter, pain of the world aside, was just really deep. It was rich. It was rich for me. So yeah, deeper than ever, more simplicity. I went through, there were a couple of weeks where I was like, I was going to drop out of everything and buy a farm.
like in another country or a farm in Vancouver?
I wanted an orchard. I really felt I needed an orchard, and I needed to, not be so urban. But now I'm just back to simplicity. There's some relationships I decided to like just not put as much effort into. And there's some relationships I decided to like double down and like these, this is the inner circle, and how can we just be even closer and more than just like conversationally closer, like, okay, what do we want to do with our lives? How are we going to help each other get what we want in our lives? You want an orchard and you want a retreat and you're lifting off a business and you want to fall in, like, let's go. So that, and less stuff. I'm getting rid of more stuff. I got enough jeans. I'm well, I'm fortunate, and I'm more devoted to social well-being than ever. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think you kind of answered that question, but I'm just going to follow up with, what is the biggest lesson that 2020 has taught you so far? I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but is there a theme? Is there the one thing, or is there a number of things?
Two lessons. I don't even know if they're related. I got to think about it. One is forgive. Just forgive. Like, the world is on its deathbed, and like we can heal. We have everything it takes to be well, to get out of this. But this is critical. And when you're dying, what do? You forgive. Like, it's all okay. You let go of grievances and grudges. So a lot of people in my life just off the hook, and I'm off the hook. That you got to include yourself. All the dumb, arrogant things I've done in the past, like, I was just learning. I figured it out. So forgiveness is a big one. And receptivity. Like, there's to go against everything that's happening right now, you go crazy. Slow down. Simplify. Go within. Retreat. This is what's being required of us. Why resist that? You'll go nuts. You'll get depressed. Your anxiety is going to go through the roof. So I feel more open to... I'm asking more for guidance, and just noticing that, like, the easy way, and this has been a long time learning for me, but like, when the answer is gentle and easy, it's the right answer. Doesn't mean it doesn't require hard work or difficult conversations, but just the right answer is so simple. Yeah.
On the key to forgiveness, does that person need to be present? Like, do you have to, did you write a list and go, I'm angry at this person? And sometimes the people we need to forgive are no longer here, or
Yeah.
they're absent in your life. So is there a method or practice that you can offer to somebody who wants to forgive, but just for whatever reason, either cannot get in touch with that person or doesn't know how to start or begin?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, so most of us have a resistance to forgiving because it's so much easier to just be right. And it's so, and the grudges and the things you hold on to are like, they're part of your identity. And it just, I was sane and they were crazy, all that. First of all, you need to forgive yourself for not wanting to forgive. It's like, I've been resistant. It's difficult. I have compassion for myself. Okay, then you move on. Then all you need is the desire to forgive. I don't know how I'm going to do it. This is a difficult call. I don't know what it's going to look, what things are going to look like on the other side of forgiveness. But I just, life, God of your understanding, higher self, I want to forgive. Just be in the desire, the intention to forgive. And then you'll have new thoughts. Things occur to you. You start to soften. You start to let go. Forgiving people who are no longer in your life, whether they're like other side have passed over, or it's your ex a long time ago and they've moved on. It doesn't matter. We're all connected. There's an energetic field. Just have the conversation heart to heart. You can write a letter that you never send, but just intention. And part of the forgiveness has to be, this is not about reconciliation. This is not about saying you hurt me in these 9 different ways and you screwed me over in 3 different directions. This is just like,
so that's not part of forgiveness then, right? Blame, starting with blame and look what you did. That's not in the recipe of forgiveness.
No, sometimes it's part of the conversation that needs to be had when someone is asking for forgiveness. They're just saying, I was a loser in these 5 ways and it's never going to happen again. And you endeavor that it never happen again. And you just take, you take any feedback. You don't take the bait, the hook. Sometimes there's a hook to drag people back into a fight. But yeah, the other kind of layer to forgiveness is that there's a delight in the letting go. It's like, I bless you and I release you. I bless and release. I bless and release. And the blessing is that you are wishing well for that person. You want them to be well and to be happy. And it's not for you to make it happen. And it doesn't matter what their version of happiness is, but of course you want wellness for them, of course, if you get to the center of your heart. And that it's not up to you to fix or repair. And, I did an exercise after my divorce where, this was many years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, where I went through this process where I wished for him all the things that I wanted for myself. And it was hard and difficult, but I pushed myself to just like, I wished for healthy, passionate, equal relationship for myself. I wish for abundance. I wish for health and wellness and radiance. And then to take all those wants, that vision for myself, and bless him with it. I kind of sweat a bit doing that. But that's the quality of forgiveness. That's release. And before all that, just, we need to rewind to like, if you want a fulfilling relationship, you must forgive all your past relationships. It's the stuff, it's the grievances, it's the resentment, it's the things you haven't processed within yourself, the shadow work about all the old hurts that are impediments to a new vibration coming in. So you want what you want, forgive the past. And I mean, really let go.
That was so great. We have a lot of engagement. Teresa Larico is watching. You may or may not know her. She wants to say hello. And she actually brought this question to me because she knew I was interviewing you. You have this ability to go deep and to go into the darkness. It's like that's your jam, right? Like, how do you do that? And then how do you get yourself out of it? Because there are people that go deep, go to the pain, and then they stay there. So like, what's the not going to say the trick, but what's the process so that you're not stuck in this, feeling of woe is me?
That's a great, super deep question. So you have to have the awareness, or just even the inkling of a belief, that to go into your pain, into your woundedness is the way, it's not the only way, but it's the most, you have to do that work to be free. If you are avoiding your pain and not doing the therapy, forget it. It's going to keep coming back unless you're going to date the same guy over and over again. You all know this. Like, how many relationships or jobs or contracts or situations where you're like, this again?
Yeah.
We haven't healed it. So all your liberation and all your power is in the darkness. Your light is in the dark. And that will help you when you're down there. How do you do it? You need to get a support system. You need to have therapy. You need to have a coach. And this is the key. You need to have compassion for all the stuff. So when you get in there and you go, wow, it's really, I never got the love I wanted from my father. And I never feel that. And that is attracting relationships to me where I'm not getting the love I want from that person. So instead of saying I'm not evolved or I'm a loser, I haven't done my work yet, just be like, wow, that's what that is. And just have a conversation with yourself like you would a good friend. Like, it's cool and it's okay. And of course you feel that way. Takes a charge out of it. And the pain starts to disintegrate and dissipate. And then also, and this is terribly hard, you have to be patient. Like, it's not always a quick fix. You might have to sit in your sorrow for months, some of us years. It doesn't mean you won't be functional. It doesn't mean you can't have pleasure and happiness and all that stuff. But it'll go when it's time to go. And
yeah, I obviously work with singles, so a large bunch of our audience will be both entrepreneurs and singles. And interestingly enough, I'm working with a lot of couples that during the pandemic have unexpectedly experienced these breakups, and in some cases, for them have felt like a complete surprise. And I know you've been in a situation where, oops, didn't expect this to happen. I've been there many times as well. So what advice would you give to someone who's just unprepared, like just completely blindsided? It's almost like I have an infidelity question in a future question, but how would you deal with something like that?
It's unexpected because it's compressed. So whatever issues are coming up as a result of having a shelter in place and not be as mobile, all of that, it's just like, it's intensified. It's the accelerated program. All that stuff just could have been long drawn out of 3, 4, 10 years. So give thanks that you went to like the advanced program and saved yourself a lot of time and maybe and then a lot of lawyer fees that you're seeing it now because it's just like intense, right? Yeah, it's like I've been saying, like, we're in global group therapy, and to be in a partnered relationship during this is couples therapy. So yeah. It's only a surprise to the degree that we haven't been awake. Like, I know some couples in this situation too, and they're just like, knew it. We've been dealing with this stuff for a long time. It's actually no surprise that it came up when there was nowhere to hide, nowhere to numb out, nowhere to run. They just had to face their issues. Better now than later.
It's funny because when you're in the relationship, usually after a breakup, you reflect and you look back and you're like, yeah, that my gut said something, or that now I get it. But in the moment, you kind of you ignore those things. You put it off as if it's not urgent. Do you think people, avoid confronting those situations hoping they're just going to disappear?
Sure. Yeah, if you're looking to just fill the hole in your soul, which doesn't really exist, if you don't think you're worthy, you're going to make all sorts of unhealthy compromises. I also think in that, in the compression that so many people have been in, it's also an opportunity for a lot of us to like do the hard work and stay together.
Mm.
It's like, or to realize we need space and it's a healthy thing. It's like, Esther Perel, her work, she's a psychologist, deals a lot with relationships.
Infidelity.
Wrote 2 amazing books, which everybody in this moment should read: Mating in Captivity and State of Affairs. And she talks a lot about how in these times we're looking to get all of our needs met by our partner. And society wasn't always set up this way. It was much more perfunctory and functional. But it's like the compression of space is like, oh, I do need space. I do need fluidity. I need more solitude. And I love you as intensely and deeply and fiercely as ever. And we don't have to put it all on our partner. We can become whole people on our own. 2 wholes coming together to like be dynamite is way better than 2 broken.
You brought up Esther. I just forwarded it to the question I was going to ask you. Because she really is the expert in infidelity. Her TED Talk about rethinking infidelity. And so my question to you is, do you think a relationship can survive cheating? And what are your thoughts on her work with regards to that? Because she also talks about happy people and happy, men and women that cheat for whatever the reason is. So what's your advice on, relationships surviving infidelity? A lot of people think it can't happen.
Oh, it can definitely happen. I know it's happened. It's not been my personal experience. And I will tell you my personal approach to this, but I know
it's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I know I could say a handful of relationships, at least 5 relationships where there's been infidelity, either on the female or the male's partner. So these are heterosexual relationships. And actually I know of a same-sex relationship, and the relationship was better for it. So the pain of that betrayal brought up all their stuff to the light, and they decided to hang in there and look at it about, what was broken, why it happened. And they were stronger and more connected and more passionate than ever. And don't look back on it on fondness, but look back on the infidelity as an initiation, made the relationship better. So it's possible. Personally, I used to say to my first husband, when we first got married, I'd say, if you ever fooled around on me, because I was clear it was not my way to go. Like I was in, and I was going to be faithful. I really only had eyes for him, and that's how I am in relationship. If you're it, you're it. And I would say, if you're unfaithful to me, I love you so much, I'd want to get to the other side. I'd want to work it out. And then that changed. By the end of relationship, almost 10 years in, I said to him, look, what we've created is so sacred. I've given you so much of my heart that if you so much as kiss another woman, just leave your fucking keys in the mailbox, because that'll be the end. We'll be done.
Yeah.
And that really felt healthy at the time. I'm holding this in such sacred esteem. We know, there can be no betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
So that was then. And now I'm just who knows? I mean, the relationship is a dance. My next partnership, I could be we'll see how it goes, or don't even think about it. I don't know.
What I wanted to ask you, where did desire mapping come from? Where did you come up with this concept? And can you talk to me about how we can apply that? I know it's like you have books and books on it, but can you just give us the Coles notes?
So it's the idea that it's inner attunement before you go for outer attainment. It's really, I think we're all driven about how we want to feel. So the food you eat and the people you hang out with and the job and the clothes and all of it is because you're trying to feel a certain way. So why don't you just get more aware and conscious about how it is that you want to feel? And then all of your ambition is about trying to generate that feeling. So this is how I want to feel in a relationship. This is how I want to feel in my career. And that's the intention. So that, because, I work with so many people, just high achieving people. This is early in the days when I was, I used to do a lot of business consulting. High achievers who set goals for themselves, got there empty. One dude had all the money, had the athletic trophies, and just realized he was at a banquet. He was being awarded for something really muscular. And he realized all he wanted was his dad to tell him that he loved him. So all of that, years and years of striving, and just wanted that. And ended up realizing he didn't want to be a football star. And I hear this from a lot of women who'd be considered ballers, like making the money and doing this stuff. And they're just like, this is because I never got what I needed from my mom. And I could save myself the workaholism and all the materialism if I just dealt with that pain. And you can still want the same things. You can still want to be you still want to be VP or have 5 kids or whatever, but you want them from a heart-centered place, not from a place of proving or striving. Yeah.
I think a lot of people operate on that needing something to prove, whether it's to a person, a family member, an ex-lover. We kind of thrive on that a little bit, As you said, you discovered that this guy just wanted some, love from his parent. Do you think it's an incident that happens, or like how does one get to that point? Do they have to hit rock bottom to realize, oh, what am I doing this for?
Mm-hmm. Well, rock bottom is useful.
Yeah.
I don't think it's essential. I think we can have vision and like be on a path, and there's all sorts of other, there's wise people to help us out and say, you don't have to hit rock bottom. You could just wake up a little more now and go in and do the healing work. We could do more preventative stuff, more devoted lives, whether it's meditation or yoga or friendship or counseling or whatever it is, but commit to like being awake, and doesn't have to be as much pain. What was the question? No.
You answered it. You answered it. I'm a big fan of Marie Forleo, and I'm sure people have. You've worked with her. I wanted to ask you, what's something that she's taught you about life, love, and business? And I know you surround yourself with, very close people. So what's it like working with her?
Mm-hmm. Well, Marie and I go way back. So like we were.
How did you meet? Yeah.
Marie asked me to speak at one of her events. So she was doing something called Rich, Happy, and Hot. And
you needed to speak at that for sure.
And she just called me. So lots of hotel rooms with Marie Forleo and Chris Carr, and just like, what are we going to do with our lives and how are we going to get there? Lots of tears of me being like, how do I get out of this contract? And what do you think I should do? Like, Marie is one of the people I call if I need just like straight up stealth business advice. She's very pragmatic. What Marie has kind of given me is Marie's good at dealing with people for who they are. So her advice isn't always cookie cutter. So
that's good to know.
when I call Marie, she takes who I am into consideration and will say, well, Dee, that's not your way. Say no. And I'm like, right,
Right.
that's not what I want to do. Yeah, and she's a big practicer and preacher of focus. Just pick one thing. Don't pick more than 3 things. Do 3 things great instead of 10 things. And
That is so hard to do as an entrepreneur. It
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
really is.
Very
I would say that's one of my faults, is wanting to do lots of, like, all kinds of things all the time, and keeping that laser, the horse blinders on, so to speak. On that note, I wanted to ask you what you felt, mentorship. What does mentorship mean to you, and how do you choose the right mentor?
Mhm. I don't have mentors.
Okay.
I have smart friends.
Okay.
I have people whose content I adore and love, and I watch what they're doing, and I reach out to give thanks when I want to. So I haven't had anybody who guides me. Basically, what I need is an energy worker and a psychotherapist, and I got
Okay.
the rest covered. Um, but it's important to have friends who are going in a similar direction. Um, yeah, I have friends going in a similar direction.
Do you consider do you mentor people? I mean, you have a psychotherapist and friends that you advise, but to many people, I feel like you are their mentor. How do you feel about that?
Mm. Well, it's not formal. So I
Okay.
don't, like after a gig, people come up and say, "Will you mentor me?" And I'm just like, "Just read my stuff. I'm so there for you." And I may do something, I'm just been talking about it the last couple of weeks. I may do something in the future around heart-centered business. But I think, the craving for a lot of people to have a mentor, find a mentor, you got to be careful about that, because it can be like, you want someone to tell you what to do, you want someone to rescue you, and it just doesn't exist. Just aspire to have aspirational relationships, but you don't need someone who you can pick up the phone all the time. Those are your smart friends.
Got you.
Start a mastermind group. Masterminds are a really great way to kind of take evolutionary leaps and accountability.
Do you belong, you subscribe to masterminds? Are you part of some groups?
I'm
No.
I'm a super lone ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have people. I'm just like, dude, what would you do? Or do you know that someone, or what, but I'm really solitary, introverted. I pray is what I do. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you that. So what does a day in
Mhm.
the life of Dee look like? From, I don't know, is it routine? Or are you just pray and meditate and see what it brings? Like, what does it really look like?
It's both. It's both.
Okay.
So my morning always starts with some kind of devotion. So I do a walking meditation. There's always prayers. There's always some kind of contemplation. It's super important to me. It happens every day in some form or another. It's not always the same. On the weekends, I do something really different than I do during the week. I try to move in, there's like just get a sweat in, but there's also just like sacred movement. So I do yoga or I dance just to feel connected to like life force and alive, and everything's basically how am I going to move my body to feel more radiant? And then how
Okay.
am I going to move my body like have a great ass? Sometimes they're related,
Yeah.
sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
And my team's virtual, so there's 16 of us. So we were doing Zoom before everybody else was on Zoom. And there's 3 days a week we have a morning scrum. There's like 2 20-minute calls, and then there's a deep 90-minute, like, what are we creating? How are we serving? Most days I'm so excited to like do what I do. I run up here to be in this space. I work all around my home. That's a day. And I have a teenager son who's amazing. So there's a lot of music in my life. There's music, there's dancing, there's friendship, there's walks around the seawall. There's a lot of clean eating. There's a lot of sorrow too. Like, it's so easy to like in these conversations be like, this is all the good part. But like, I cry almost every day because the world is on fire, because I feel sorrow. There's, I have my psychotherapist. I have my girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you're such an empath. Would you describe yourself as an empath?
I wouldn't. I think I'm empathetic. I'm really careful around. I think I'm empathetic. I think I'm highly intuitive.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say I'm an empath. I don't feel your feelings. I don't want to feel your feelings.
Oh, I was gonna. You don't want to feel my feelings. I can take some of yours, but like you don't want to
But
be.
I want to understand you. I want
Yeah,
to
of
know, like, what's
course.
up? How are you suffering? How can I help?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Now, a bit of a kudos to you. June 26th, you posted you had 1
Right.
million downloads of your podcast. Congrats!
Thank
Woohoo! Is that is that your studio, or do you have an official, like, where do
you.
you record, and what inspired you to create this? Because this was a take two. We won't go there with the first one because that was a bit of a mess. If you can recall the original, I think you had an original podcast, but this is now the makeover. Is that correct?
So it's not a makeover. This is
Okay.
it's just a different series. Yeah, the podcast has always been like smooth sailing. So podcast number 1 is a series called Light Work, and I decided to do 6 episodes because I didn't know if I wanted a podcast. I wanted it to have a beginning and an end. It was important. It was a series.
Okay.
And then when I decided that I loved podcasting and it was working, I just renamed it called With Love Danielle. And now everything I do fits under that umbrella. My studio is my phone and this little Sesame Street microphone that I have.
No kidding. Are you kidding me right now?
This goes into the bottom of my phone when I take the case off. And so I record in my living room in front of the fireplace. I record in my art studio. And that's it. I have one.
That's super simple.
So simple. Yeah.
What's the inspiration? I have to listen to one of your episodes. So are you interviewing others, or do you share from the heart what's going on that day?
Yeah. It's a one-woman show on self-realization. I don't do interviews. I might someday. I talk about suffering and devotion and how to live a more awake life. And I sometimes talk about business. I talk about forgiveness. I talk about relationships. One of my most popular episodes was about narcissism. I talk about intuition and empathy and conscious money making and self-worth, inner child work, shadow work, my world.
All kinds of stuff. What books or book are you reading right now? What's on your brain? What's at your bedside?
Looking at around my office. What am I reading now? It's like super nerd. I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita. I am reading. I'm reading a book right now on animal intelligence called The Inner Life of Animals.
Animal intelligent?
Yeah, how animals. It's called The Inner Life of Animals, and it's how they communicate. And I'm reading a book about written by a cardiac surgeon about how the heart actually works. Yeah,
so cool. So you do you ever read nonfiction?
No.
Okay.
No. I read poetry. That counts as nonfiction, but that's it. Yeah.
Question for you, because everybody's been there. How do you deal with unrequited love, and how do you know when to walk away, particularly when you are a fan of love or you believe in it? Like, we can spend so much time and energy in that. So can you talk a little bit about that?
This is a great question. So unrequited love is one of my least favorite topics because it's one of my least favorite saying and my least favorite ways of being. Like, who doesn't want to have their love requited? Like, so first of all, you are worthy of being met. Basic human needs. You want to be loved, seen, felt, heard, understood. We want to be known. So you got to ask yourself, why are you attracting, hanging out with, giving time to, still holding on to someone who does not love me and understand you? It's probably a replay of something that happened in the past. And it could be like in another lifetime, but sure. So there's that. So I recently had a friend who was just like, this is a male friend who is interested in a woman. And he was saying, like, she's never really telling me like where she's at. We're like, she's on vacation, but she won't tell me where she is. She won't tell me when she's back in town. She's back in town for a day, but doesn't have time to meet, but she's texting me a lot. and the conversation's great and she's funny. And I was like, dude, she needs to like feel the heat. So like she's not meeting you. She might meet you. Maybe if you just give her a chance to meet you and give her a chance to carry on the conversation, and she might be scared. But yeah, so about letting it go. Oh God, let it go. Just like let it go. Bless and release. Thank you. This is how you do it. I have two meditations, by the way, for relationships. One's called relationship nourishment for the relationships you want to keep. One is called relationship releasing. And the releasing has everything to do with that blessing energy of like, I'm wishing the best for you and for me. You create a container. All relationships are a container, even if they are unrequited, even if you never have sex, even if it doesn't turn out to how you want. You've created this energy capsule. Then all these dynamics are happening in it. And you just have to like, thank you for everything I learned. Thank you for everything you taught me. Thank you for the longing. Thank you for the pain that's come to the surface, showing me how strong I am. It's showing me how beautiful. It shows me all the other love in my life. Thank you for all the doubt this surfaced about my worth and what I can bring in the future and attract. Bless. And don't think, you know, that old saying we've all loved, especially when we're not being met. If you love something, set it free. If it comes back to you, if it's yours. If it doesn't, don't even think about it coming back.
Just let it go.
Just let it go. The world is full of 900 soulmates, not one. 1,000 opportunities.
Do you believe that? Because I believe that.
Yes, I believe it. Listen, there is no such thing as the one. Let's just get that out of the way right now. The one is the one because you vow that they are going to be the recipient of your fidelity, your attention, your love, your effort, your space. I'm making you the one because I'm free. So I have self-agency. You're the one. And yes, I was waiting for you. And yes, you're perfect for me for all these reasons. And I'm so grateful, but that's it. But you know what? You can have the same intensity, the same depth of love with 50 other men or women or however anybody identifies.
Exactly. So, question that I'm sure so many singles out there are thinking about, especially, you know, those who are single and you're living this big life. What do you require of your own partnership? And what are the most important qualities that you're looking for in a romantic partnership? Because it's different for everyone. Some people think it's the same, but what's it for you?
Well, you should know, because does everybody know that you're my matchmaker?
Yeah, I know.
Karma's my matcher. Yeah. So things I have told you, I want a man I need to be in a relationship with someone who is like full on about love, who just like, they are game to build a life with somebody. And that requires like courage. So like big-hearted, kind, human. And conscious, like they're doing their work. They're living some kind of devoted life, whether that's cleaning up the planet so there's like a degree of consciousness and awareness. I like, I identify as like I'm most alive when I'm in my feminine. So I am really attracted to manly men, just a strong sense of purpose, a very strong sense of direction. They know who they are. I want a man with a plan, like just take the reins when it comes to certain things. And I have my own definition of sexy, but sexy is like really important to me. Kind, on purpose, sexy.
You are particular.
That sounds so general to me.
No. I meant like having had the experience of like showing you various people. It's like so many people will look at an image or see a person and they'll just have this kind of like yes or no kind of situation. Mm-hmm. Why, like, and as a matchmaker, that's always a struggle for me because I feel, and we've had that where I thought, oh, this is great. And you're like, yeah, not my person, because for whatever reason, is it Do you see something in the energy? Is it like, because you don't know what he's going to look like, but do you have this, have you manifested or meditated on the physical being of this person?
I'm open to the form he shows up in, and I can tell a lot by someone's words. I can tell a lot by someone's picture. And, being your client, there's always this, like, I always want to say, like, I'm open, but
Sure.
I am open. And,
Yeah.
the last match you made for me was it was an instant yes. I mean,
Yes.
it wasn't my person, but it was just like, yep. And I knew that was going to go somewhere, and it definitely went somewhere.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm open and I'll know. And like part of it's been a journey with us. And this is advice I now generally give to women, especially like now in my own heart-centered membership program. More questions about relationships are coming up, especially from people who are like, hey, I'm divorced and how do I date again? And I say, look, it's going to feel uncomfortable getting in there. And yes, do it. Get on Tinder and do all those things. And you're going to feel nervous before the first date, but go and work with a matchmaker. And I'm not saying that it's like this isn't a part of us, but just like get yourself in front of people. And also the process of having a conversation with a matcher about what it is that you want and desire. But I've had to become more I've come full circle from like, I'm wide open. I'll go on the date. I'll see what the fuck, And now I'm just like, I did that. I'm good.
You did.
Now I know. No, 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 no. Yes.
Yes.
No, no, no. Yes.
You did that to the point where, you actually put yourself online. Question for you. This is such a crazy time, and online dating is really one of the ways that people are meeting now, because you can't really meet any other way currently. I mean, there aren't as many events or whatnot. What do you notice? What are the biggest mistakes men make online dating? We could probably dedicate an entire. What's missing, guys? Like, there will be men watching this. So what is missing?
I should record my conversations with my other girlfriends. Like we're all dating together. And we're like, did you check out that? And he was so lovely. And he was, yeah. Okay. First of all, guys, your profile.
Preach. Okay. Grab a pen and paper. Okay. Go.
And for any woman who loves a man and you want to see them partnered, you need to send them this right now. Okay. So you're not setting up an online dating profile to date other men. You want to attract women. So I know some women they care.
Great advice.
They care about the fish.
Yeah.
And they care about the sports. I know some women, there's that. But we want to see your eyes. First of all, no sunglasses. We need to see your eyes. To have a buddy. Are you really in the game? You really want to show it? It's not all about your best self, by the way. It's about your true self. Someone you work with at the office, in the warehouse, your kid can take a decent picture of you. So take a decent picture. Any man who is defensive or snarky from the get-go, it's not attractive. I know, I've just said, like, I'm really into self-directed masculine men, but don't tell us about your crazy ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
You say, I'll give you some hot terms that let me preface this by saying, if you want an awake, conscious, radiant woman, this is what you need to do. Not everybody wants that, and everybody is allowed to have their preferences. Okay. Sure. If you want to date me and my 12 girlfriends who were all in the same kind of, kin. All right. So you can't say things like no drama. That is a red flag for you don't want to go to any kind of emotionality. Don't say no drama. It tells us that you don't want to talk about feelings and you don't want to hear about mine.
Right.
If you say, ask anything and I'll tell you, what kind of effort is that? I'm not going to ask. A woman who is like sort of in her queenship and is self-directed, she's not going to inquire. You need to put out with the emotional availability in the get-go. And then I think it's really okay and healthy to also say what you're looking for. Like, I super appreciate it when a man's profile says they're looking for long term. Or, oh, by the way, stop using the phrase partner in crime. It's just only because it's overused. It's just like, it's really common. We can think of something more original.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be deceptive. You want to be your true self. But ask a woman to help you write your profile, because you're trying to attract another woman. So it will help you with just the phrasing. And yeah, my final point, just it's really healthy to be honest about what you want. Yeah.
That being said, Danielle, a man is writing for a man, but a woman seems to be writing for a woman. So the same application applies to women who are seeking men, because they often will tell too much, and in the reverse, will say the same type of thing. The partner in crime, no drama. It happened. The biggest mistake that women make online is writing all the things they don't want. Okay. And then they end up attracting that rather than desire mapping and stating who they want, right?
I think women write what they don't want from a place from self-protection. We're protecting ourselves. It's vulnerable. Like, it doesn't matter how much you have it together, how gorgeous you are, how experienced. It's vulnerable putting yourself out there online. So I think it's a defense mechanism, but there's something more subtle underneath that, which is if we really show up in our full open-hearted request about what we're looking for, we might actually attract it, and we might be happy, and we might fall madly in love, and all of those things are fresh and new. Doesn't matter how many times you've been in love. Love is exhilarating and terrifying because it will strip you down of your ego. And there's so much to lose. It's like, a great Bruce Springsteen line, God, give me something that I'm afraid to lose. And that's it. So you have to wear it. You have to be open-hearted. And you can discern later.
That's great. And
radiate first, discern once the bee comes to the flower.
Last question before my final question. Do you have a rule about social media? And what advice can you give to people who are fixated on other people's lives or stuck in this comparison syndrome because of social media?
So my personal rules about social media, there's a couple. One is
like for example, my girlfriend has a no cell phone Sunday. So once a week she does a complete detox. So I'm curious to know if you have a methodical way of approaching your own social media, given that it's such a big driver and it's a huge platform for you.
Yeah, it's a big part of my career universe. Number one with social media, if I'm having a hard time, I don't talk about the hard time while I'm in it. I go through my stuff privately, then I turn it into a teachable, what wisdom can I pull out of that? And then I put it out. In the 16 years of my child's life, there's been one photo of him online. So there's no appearance of my kid. He's 16 now. He doesn't want to be on there. When he was 10, he didn't know what it was. So I didn't put him on there. There's also energy. I don't want all that energy projected onto my kid. So there's no kid. Sundays are a little more sacred. Sometimes I can't resist and I go on, but I'm trying to be on social less on Sundays. And then in terms of my own dating, am I still with you?
Yeah, you're here.
In terms of my own the dating life, it's different when I'm working with you, but if I was on an online platform, I don't give people if we get to a third date, my last name, but first date, I don't even talk about what I write about. You will not know that I have an online life at all.
Right.
Zero. Yeah. What was the second?
You're very private. Yeah. What was I asking about? Oh yeah, just rules about social media. How do you manage that? Because there's a lot of people that are stuck in comparison mode, and I don't know whether you yourself, as you said, you look at your friends, you're like, what I use social media a lot for inspiration and also for like what are people posting about? What do they want to hear about? Those types of things, right? So, but the other people use, social media has a negative impact on their life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Listen, it's curated. So there's two things about social that I look for. One is I know I'm in the game. I know how to use good lighting. I know the right angle. I know the filter. I'm taking pictures of I've got a professional taking photos of me on my best day. And I'm okay with that. Like, I am not honor bound to show you my worst side, or me, without on my a breakout, or whatever it is. This is a business, and I'm here to show up and to be of service. Now, also, part of how I work in the world is super honest, super transparent. I mean, I just posted this week of 2 years ago, this is me dancing, and I look like I'm happy. And it was a really dark, painful time of my life. You need to know that, so you're not comparing yourself all the time to people on social media. The other thing that I personally look for on social media is I want to see how, specifically in my sort of genre, like female personal development writer, I'm looking to see how those female personal development writers are lifting up other women and how inclusive they are. It's like, are you giving honor to your teachers and to your mentors? Are you helping other women make their way? Does anybody else's opinion even make it into your feed? Are you giving money away? Are you philanthropic? That's what I want to see. But that's my personal thing. Everybody do what you want with your Instagram feed.
Thank you. Thank you. And lastly, what are you up to? What's next? What's on the table? How do people connect with you? That's it.
I am really committed to my heart-centered membership. The theme this month is leadership. The theme next month is resilience. I am trying.
Is that a membership club? The heart-centered, do you go on once a month? What is that? And where do we find it? Is it on your website?
Everything's on my site. It's heart-centered is there's a meditation every month. There's 2 Zoom calls a month with me. In addition to the meditation, there's a prayer. There's always a theme. So we've done openness. We've done integrity. Like I said, this month is leadership. Next month will be resiliency. Yeah, it's beautiful. There's often bathing rituals. There's documentary recommendations. In a couple months, we're going to build altars together.
You have men that follow you, because your tribe seems to be exclusively female. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Are men welcome? Do they follow you or join your groups?
Men are welcome. I think I have more male identified people on my social.
Okay.
They're always really interested. I mean, I get the most feedback about my business acumen, and but I think heart-centered is all female identified creatures. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I honor you in this time. I'm looking forward to the next journey in your dating life. We've got some work to do. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining me, guys. We'll have the replay here. And Danielle, always a pleasure.
Yeah. I love you, Carmen.
Love you too. Bye.